Kings 21-42, through the Bible. Chapter 20. Theme: Israel is attacked by Syria. Remember that this event occurs during the time the kingdom of Israel is divided. The 10 northern tribes bear the name of Israel. Because of the repeated sin of both king and people, God is permitting their enemies to attack them. However, again God is gracious and gives them opportunity to repent and return to Him. In this chapter God delivers Israel, though pitifully outnumbered, from the mighty army of Syria. Ahab's first Syrian campaign and his victory. And Benhadad the king of Syria gathered all his host together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses, and chariots, and he went up and besieged Samaria, and warred against it. 1 Kings 21. God is now permitting the enemy to come in from the outside. Up to this time God had not permitted it at all. We are told, however, that God promised victory even to Ahab. And, behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab king of Israel, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And Ahab said, By whom? And he said, Thus saith the Lord, even by the young men of the princes of the provinces. Then he said, Who shall order the battle? And he answered, Thou. 1 Kings 20:13-14. The promise of God's deliverance in this situation was not based upon Ahab's fidelity but on God's love for his people. God gave this man an opportunity to change. We hear a great deal today about lost opportunities and about opportunity knocking only once at the door of every man. I think opportunity stands at the door and keeps knocking. Now Ahab was promised a victory, and God gave him a great victory over the Syrians. And they slew every one his man, and the Syrians fled, and Israel pursued them, and Benhadad the king of Syria escaped on an horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out, and smote the horses and chariots, and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. 1 Kings 20:20-21. Ahab's second Syrian campaign and his rebuke for sparing Benhadad's life. And the prophet came to the king of Israel, and said unto him, Go, strengthen thyself, and mark, and see what thou doest, for at the return of the year the king of Syria will come up against thee. 1 Kings 20:22. God was telling Ahab, I have given you a victory now, but you be careful that you don't return to the worship of Baal. I have demonstrated that I am your God, the living God. The king of Syria is going to come against you again at the return of the year. It was not the end of the struggle. Benhadad was going to renew his effort to defeat Israel. This is a very vivid picture. And the children of Israel were numbered, and were all present, and went against them, and the children of Israel pitched before them like 2 little flocks of kids, but the Syrians filled the country. And there came a man of God, and spake unto the king of Israel, and said, Thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, The Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. 1 Kings 20:27-28. Once again God gave Ahab victory over the enemy, but unfortunately, Ahab made the mistake of sparing Benhadad's life. And Benhadad said unto him, The cities, which my father took from thy father, I will restore, and thou shalt make streets for thee in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with this covenant. So he made a covenant with him, and sent him away. 1 Kings 20:34. Ahab was told to eliminate the enemy, but he did not obey. There can be no compromise, friend, with sin. God never permits that, and that is exactly what Ahab had done. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to utter destruction, therefore thy life shall go for his life, and thy people for his people. 1 Kings 20:42. Why is it today that judges are so lenient with criminals? It is because they have a guilt complex themselves, my friend. They feel guilty themselves, and they know they are sinners. It is almost like pointing the finger at themselves to convict someone else. It is very hard for one sinner to judge another sinner. This was the case with Ahab. That is why he spared Benhadad's life.